exciting session of Founders Under Crypto Spotlight. Today we have Anuj Kumar Kodam, who is the founder and CEO of Wall. Thank you, Anuj, for joining us. Uh,
Hey,
you must have been seeing him in last couple of our events of Initialize Metaverse. So we have learned about, we know Anuj is there in the NFT space, but we'd like to know about his journey today and how he got into this space and what he has been doing there. So thank you, Anuj, for taking out time and speaking to our audience today.
hey, Manav. Nice catching up, man. Again, I think thanks for this opportunity. Yeah, excited to kind of share about my journey and talk to some of the folks.
It's always lovely to have you here, Anuj. So tell me, Anuj, what have you been doing? What was Anuj doing before he got into the crypto space?
Yeah, I don't know where to start from, but basically, I think I kind of did my studying in engineering from IIT Kharagpur way back in 2011. Passed out from there, worked for a couple of years, and then went to IIM Calcutta. And then just out of that, I got into Ola, started my work as a program manager, but had an amazing opportunity to directly work at the founder's office.
Oh,
So,
lovely.
so that was in, like, that's the phase when Ola was kind of having a hyper growth phase, and I really got a very interesting vantage point seeing
I'm
just
sure.
just seeing that if you just have sort of, so it was my first time experience of, like, just working at and like, because startups itself were pretty new during that time, right?
Yes,
And then working in one of the biggest startups in the most high growth standpoint at a founder's office is a very, very unique
I
opportunity.
know.
So
I know. That's amazing. Coming from best colleges from in the engineering and the management world to working with one of the top companies during that time, top one of the best startups and a
yeah,
very good company, Ola. So it's amazing what's happening.
yeah, yeah. What was very interesting for me to actually see, uh, when like things are moving at such a fast pace, like what sort of things happen, and like what is an impact that you can end up creating. So that was very exciting. I worked there for a couple of years, and I think just going through that experience, I was very much motivated to start my own thing, because it just felt like, that seems a way to go about doing things. I mean, one thing what you understand is also how really things work, like as an
Hmm.
employee what you do, as a founder what you do, and like sort of those things. So and then poker was something which I was already very passionate about and playing already. So I thought I wanted to start something in poker. So that's how I kind of quit Ola and started building a poker website and
Oh,
a playing
lovely.
platform.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah.
So you went ahead and played poker at a national, like national level. You played in tournaments also.
Yes. I started building it, but then I soon realized, the my motivation to start building was basically poker was a game which was kind of put in the category of gambling as everything else, and but when you start actually playing, it's pretty much like any other sport. Like so so I thought the narrative around that is like something which is not great. I wanted to change that and in some way contribute in that way, but then I realized that I don't know much anything about the game for myself to start doing that. So from starting to build a platform, and then I realized, okay, wanting to build an analytics platform, and then I realized, okay, I need to first know the game to do anything about it. So that's how then I pivoted to becoming a professional poker player, and yeah, did that.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, from being an engineer to being a poker player, a professional poker player. That's a lovely journey to now working as an entrepreneur. So in the crypto space. So I'm going to ask a follow-up question while you complete your journey about. So what made you jump into the crypto space? The NFT space. What was the journey there?
Yeah, it was pretty much unplanned. Like even 5 days before starting, I didn't know that I was going to start a company. So it was just a very serendipitous thing. Like I kind of although I've been exposed to crypto financially and just learning wise,
Hmm.
I was just in 2018 when I that's when I kind of started. 17, 18 is when I started getting to know about it. Uh, Actually, slightly before, maybe 16. So then it felt like only layer one, layer twos were kind of being talked about, and I just didn't feel like what I can do anything there. But I think 2020, the conversation started changing a little bit more into businesses and artists and creators getting involved as NFT space started growing up, and that's when that it really piqued my interest. And with pretty much me and Amar, my co-founder, were having bunch of like hours longs of calls on what all NFTs could be doing and what would this mean. And I think that excitement is what really got me.
Amazing. So, tell me something. What are you doing with Wall? What is Wall, and what are you trying to solve in the NFT space?
Yeah, so our journey of start building Wall has been a very interesting one, where we initially thought, okay, we wanted to uh, take part in the space, not really sure what is the area we wanted to play in. And
Mm-hmm.
over the course of like our 1 year journey so far, we have kind of switched between different points. But one thing which, but I think somewhere around September of last year, we realized something very fundamental, that uh, like your on-chain truth and on-chain actions that are happening are kind of the base layer on which everything else is sort of getting built, right? And so what we found really interesting is like what all things could be inferred from there, what how looking at the data, what all things could be done, like whether that is understanding a wallet better, having wallet profiling for collections to build the right set of community members,
Mm-hmm.
or for individuals see how they themselves are doing. And like a very interesting parallel between sort of NFTs and poker, like it just felt like it is the start of online poker, where a lot of people are playing for a lot of money but still don't have any data on how they're doing. And I totally see that happening, where in OpenSea, like today we have about what, like few $100 million worth of transactions happening, but how many of those people are really looking at how much are they doing, how well are they doing, or just basic stats. If you ask them like how many NFTs did you buy last month, they wouldn't know. So I think there is a huge opportunity there in terms of people learning about their own stats, learning, looking at other people and looking at that stats. And I think bear market is sort of the best time for also us to take a pause. We
Right.
don't have to FOMO and buy the next big collection. Just take some time off to start studying wallets and that sort of a thing. And so yeah, that's what Wall is focused on. Basically, building NFT analytics made it very simple for everyone. Specifically, looking at like wallet analytics, studying your own things, and then and based in data, kind of figuring out new things also
Mm-hmm.
to buy and everything else. So
Awesome. So, you met Amar while at one of your poker games, or was it in a crypto meetup or
no, so
NFT?
Amar was already building in the crypto space. Previously, he was working on a startup in a decentralized VPN. So he was already very much involved in the space. So kind
Mhm.
of he introduced me to um, specifically NFTs, and kind of then I think we have known each other for a long period of time, and I think we have been talking about a bunch of things over years, and this time things materialized.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah. So, one more thing before we jump into the scenario you talked about, this is a bear market, right? And people are not going to FOMO into buying NFTs. So this is the first bear market that the NFT has seen it. So, being in this industry, what is your take? How are people going about it? What do you feel the industry is going to look like, and how is it going to look like for world?
Yeah. It's a very interesting time because one is crypto cycles going through bull and bear is one aspect of it, but I think this time it's also coinciding with the macro bear trend that we're seeing across all markets. And I
Uh-huh.
think in the macroeconomic conditions, like inflation, like almost people are talking about stagflation in some of the countries, and sort of Fed rates, and like uh, COVID and all of these things. I think the macro itself is kind of in a very bearish sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
Although crypto was supposed to be a hedge against the macro market, but I think there is enough exposure for the traditional industry also right now that there is definitely a correlation. There could be sort of hedge kind of behavior happening, maybe a little bit down the bear market, but right now with it will go down with everything else. So, and that NFTs again are a subsection of that overall crypto market.
Mm-hmm.
uh, NFTs have a very interesting behavior, sub behavior, because I would say it there is a lot of um, a lot of this market has like the liquidity in this, like because everything is traded in Ethereum and Solana. It is obviously very much related to Ethereum and Solana
Mm-hmm.
ecosystem, but at the same time, the behavior here is the average behavior is kind of different, where there is more of fun aspect to it, like whether that is collecting, trading, flipping, or the communities itself that end up becoming part of it. But obviously, with bear market sentiment, everything is going to get hit. Like, and not only the floors are dipping, but also the value of Ethereum itself is dipping. So the dollar value of it is obviously reducing. But I think it also is a good opportunity for a lot of people who really saw what it could be, but
Mm-hmm.
I think didn't get an opportunity to get there to buy at the lows. But I think they'll have enough time to sort of buy them. But in terms of maybe trading volume and things like that, things will slow down. They will probably go at like 20-30% of what they were, and which we are already seeing, right? But more importantly, this is the time, the next 2-3 years is the time
Mm-hmm.
when real use cases as well as professional tools around this would start getting built. And I think data is a very interesting game. I think many different like players like Nansen, NFT Port, everyone is kind of playing on these different layers. What
Mm-hmm.
we find is really interesting is, okay, there is a base layer of data providing, but I think there is an additional intelligent layer on top of that data that could be where I can get insights on specific wallets, like I can understand a wallet a little bit more deeper. So those that is the layer in which we are interested in. I think this is the perfect time for people to start looking at data, and like obviously data is going nowhere, so it's only going to increase.
Awesome. So tell me about Wall. What are you guys solving there, and what is Wall all about?
Yes. So, like I just spoke about, so let's take Ethereum for example, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so in every 10 minutes, a certain amount of blocks is getting built, mined, and then a certain portion of them are NFT transactions.
Yeah.
And each of these, obviously, the now just look at that. In each of these transactions, there are multiple sets of information, whether it's interacting with a contract, a wallet is interacting, and a transaction is happening. So all of this is like at a basic level, there is wallet, contract, and collect transaction. And now in the specifics of what specific NFTs are getting traded and things like that, so there is a
Mm-hmm.
whole amount of analytics that could be built for a wallet, for collections, and for activities. So
Yeah.
these are the three things what we are sort of focused on. So what would that translate into as a product, right? So first and foremost, so first, a lot of people, let's say, in I was just looking at some numbers yesterday, and like OpenSea had about 20 million wallets and about 2 million active wallets. And when you look at that
Wow.
amount of wallets, all of these are active wallets which are transacting, and then they would want to see at how their performance has been, deep diving into sort of seeing, okay, now I got in at NFTs, let's say in March 2021, and I got into this collection. And but there was another really top performing wallet which got in at this point in time, and he
Mm-hmm.
got out then, right? And to now, if I understand, okay, like what is my average mintings, like how am I performing in terms of my mint prices versus buy prices and sell prices, and just understanding how my wallet is working, and then looking at some of the OG wallets and comparing and understanding, okay, what are the elements on which I could be improving on, whether so from a flipping standpoint, from a trading standpoint, what are the things that I could be improving on.
Okay.
And so once you understand that, now I have a certain set of wallets that are probably doing profitably well, right? So
Mm.
so now I can create a list of these wallets and create my own alpha group, so to speak, right? Everyone is kind of trying to figure out, who should I follow, where should I get this
Yeah.
information. On chain is like the perfect set of information for you to get.
True.
And as a matter of fact, like, so for example, yesterday on Twitter also, there was this whole rider rips BAYC controversy going on, where people are like, okay, he minted it and then he sold it. And
Mm.
the way they were proving this information is going to OpenSea's history and seeing that this guy is selling at this point in time when he's talking about this, right?
Mm.
So actually, on-chain information is the first source of information where you get the earliest information. So now
Yeah.
you know whom to follow, and you know probably why they are good to follow. And
Mm.
whenever they are doing a transaction, something noticeable, important, tangible, you get that. Now that becomes a source of information, and then comes the DYOR part of it, where you can deep dive into collections. So we have bunch of analytics, whether that is market related data or on-chain information. So we're starting with on-chain information, so you can analyze all of that. And there is also the other part which we are going to soon add. Right now it's just a Twitter feed, so we also have linked the Twitter feed. So from a collection standpoint, whatever information you need to know to understand how good or bad a collection is, how their community is, all of that is being put together into one place. So it's like a complete end-to-end DIY or create your own all fast sort of a tool.
All right, awesome. So everything that what people are doing it through different platforms now can come on wall and do
Yes.
it themselves, right?
Yes.
All right. So how is it? Can you? So I understand what wall is doing. So if there is a person, who is an influencer,
Mhm.
how will wall help them in this scenario? Can you take an example and guide that through?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a different take on this whole influencer thing. Basically, one aspect of like, um, so we don't look at ourselves as a platform on which you need to be there,
Mm-hmm.
but we are more of a window onto the main platform, which is the chain itself.
Okay.
So we are aggregating that information and presenting it. So someone is an influencer, so to speak, if
Mm-hmm.
he's an influencer on Ethereum.
Yeah.
If someone has a good wallet on Ethereum, they're an influencer by default because their on-chain activity, obviously, and if it is performing well, other people can be interested in following that, and that reputation is built.
Mm-hmm.
And we look at what we are building as a Lego piece of the overall thing, where like what the following that you build is something which is not necessarily needs to be exclusive to a platform, but it's like you're following a wallet, and that information is something that in future we are looking to integrate with other composable entities, like whether that is you know things which basically integrate between social platforms. So
Mm-hmm. All right. So basically, it's not to do with your Twitter following, but to do with your wallet
yes,
transaction. And I think that
yes,
that's a very good thing, because a lot of time people who are actually doing a lot of good work may or may not have a lot of following. So
yeah.
they, as you mentioned, they do their research, they go about it, and have a really good strong point in terms of identifying the right NFTs at the right time. Very
Yep.
interesting.
And what will be just one point to
Yeah.
add there is like on Twitter, kind of, you are like people can have anonymous identities too, but on I think what happens very interesting on chain, I think is also you can have multiple wallets where each of those identities can be different, undoxed, unrelated, and I don't need to really know who you are as long as I know what you are doing, and like if that's some information useful to me, I can
Uh-huh.
just follow your wallet and get that thing. I don't so there is no like social like shilling. There's
Yeah.
just what you just see what's happening, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, and that also makes sense. No, if I have a good track record on Ethereum, then that is showing, and if I don't have a good track record in say Solana, then that is not something that will not show me as a influencer in that sense.
Hmm.
Uh, so how will it help a newbie who is trying to understand the NFT space and say invest into their first NFT, or just kickstart with their journey, or get better at their finding out which NFTs to go about? How it's going to help them out with that?
Yeah. So I think that's a very interesting question for someone who's just getting into the space.
Mm-hmm.
To make sense of all this data is going to be complicated, right? Like they may
Yeah.
not even know what to look at. So I think that is where we have taken more of a simple, easy to understand UI user experience sort of a thing, where it looks like sort of some of the Web2 platforms that you're already familiar with,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't even necessarily need to connect wallet for you to start using the platform. And of course, wallet is something like if you connect your wallet, that's when we start giving you more insights into your own wallet and things like that. But you can look at some of the collections that are doing, you can deep dive into that. And we have a very easy to understand framework. There's an analytics section, there is a latest activity, highlight activity section, uh, and the social section, so where you'll be able to easily browse through these different things. And we are making it simple by consolidating into numbers, like okay, a wallet, we are trying to consolidate it into a score,
Mm-hmm.
and we are showing badges. So
All right.
just looking at that, like you get a sense of okay, like I don't need to really understand too much about okay, look at, because if I want to now understand a wallet, I need to go into Etherscan, look at
Yeah.
bunch of these OpenSea, and so bunch of areas you need to go and look and understand. But here essentially we are consolidating into the score and badges, and looking at that you clearly know okay, this guys might be interesting. And similarly for a collection standpoint, we are trying to create something like a community score slash collection score, which is based on number of factors, like based on volume it's able to have, the community strength it ends up having. And right now it's all on chain based data, but in future we're also looking to bring on social data too.
Awesome. That I think that will really help any newbie, who's trying to start with their journey, to understand exactly what these data is all about. So, how can any of the people access to all and get the data, or start showing their data
Yeah,
there?
yeah. So I think first, yeah, the first thing is to go to Twitter and follow us at Wall dot app, Wall.app. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and we are having a release sometime this week, very soon actually. And it's going to be a kind of a surprise release, and you need to just follow us and switch on your notifications. And the first 1,000 people who are going to come and search their wallet and search other people's wallet and connect
Mm-hmm.
is going to enter a raffle. We're doing a giveaway. We're doing an NFT giveaway, so that can actually be your way to get a really good NFT to start off with too. So go follow us on Twitter, and we are having a release announcement happening, and I think we just want to make it kind of accessible to the first set of people who are really invested in us and following us and being following us along the journey.
Lovely. So, guys, this might also be your first NFT. If you take part into the raffle, and if you're already an NFT investor, then this can be one of the many NFTs you have invested in. So do follow them at wall.app, and we will be sharing the details after this session is over through all the recordings.
Yeah. So just FYI, we are not dropping our own collection. We're not do asking you to buy an NFT. In fact, it's like you just go search any Ethereum address, any wallet, your own wallet, and
Mm-hmm.
get a score of how your wallet is performing, and actually get deep dive analysis of your wallet. I think that is the thing that we're releasing. And if you yourself don't have a wallet, you can search someone else's wallet and share that, tag them on Twitter, and that way also you can enter the raffle. Raffle is a free giveaway for all those people who are coming in and amplifying that effect.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Anand. So, on that note, what are your plans for 2022 now? With the bear market there, and you just releasing this part of your product. So, what are you guys looking at?
Yeah, so I think the steps for us is basically first to put out the B2C product that we are working on right now. I think a lot of the data that we've built is also very interesting for collections. I think during the last bull run, a bunch of collections have raised a lot of funds and want to give back value to the community members. We
Mm-hmm.
are exploring a couple of conversations with collections and understanding what are their needs.
Mm-hmm.
So one is obviously data side of things we can provide, but I think we can be doing a lot more than that to provide engaging experiences for their community members, or even utility to their NFT collection. So whether that is giving the premium access of our tool as a trial to some of these existing collections, or providing, actually, because now what we have is a wallet score, which
Mm-hmm.
like now let's say an existing collection, I have like 5,000 unique holders. Now each of these holders, like what sort of holders these are, and what as an overall 5,000 community, what are they interested in? Are they interested in metaverse at large? Are they interested in gaming at large, based on their actual on-chain holdings? So
Mm-hmm.
we'll be able to give these kinds of insights, which will help them make certain key decisions in the whether they want to start focusing on their IP, or start building a game, and these sorts of things. So providing data on holders is to collections is something that we're also interested in exploring. So uh, first is for us to kind of put out this product, have a bunch of people try out the product, and see what they like, and what listen to them, and kind of build out, keep building out those features while we explore the B2B side of things too.
All right. Awesome. Uh, Also, now moving on to my next question for you is, uh, what has been your highest and the lowest point, in your journey in building Vault till now? So, what was that?
Yeah, so I think first let me talk about the lowest point. It was when we were kind of struggling to put out something which, in a certain period of time, in a certain market that we're trying to hit. I
Mm-hmm.
think there is, as a first time founder too, there's a lot of things that you need to understand for you to put out well, whether that is the team, or the timing of the market, or kind of figuring out a product that can work.
Mm-hmm.
So it took us a bunch of time to sort of figure out what is the direction we want to go into, because as it's an open field, there are many different directions that you could be going into. So picking what is a problem that you want to solve is as important. So one aspect of that was to, and then once you pick that problem and you're like very confident, okay, this is something that we are good to hit, and validly, like we have seen when that happened, and we picked a good problem to solve, and then there was market validation by others building it and kind of raising a lot of funds or getting a lot of traction, but us
Mhm.
not being able to put that out because of the team and the pace at which we are able to go at certain things, and certain unforeseen variances also. Like let's say we used OpenSea and built this out, and then OpenSea API suddenly are start being unreliable, and then you have to change your architecture itself, which again takes
Yeah.
a couple of months. So that was a bit of a, I think, a struggle phase. And I think during the sort of the high point during the journey was when we released the earlier version somewhere in January. We did our first community call where 1,000 people showed up in the first community
Wow.
call,
Lovely.
and like we had a Discord community about 8,000 people, and all of that growing in like a couple of weeks time. So that was pretty exciting to see a bunch of people coming and trying out the product. But for various reasons, like I said, like dependencies on external third parties, and also having a product that sticks to that market. So for those things, that thing sort of slowly tapered off. So that's when we took a step back and reevaluated certain things, and we're coming out with a new release of the product, I think, which has a lot more stickiness, and as well as product relevance.
So interestingly, I have something to ask you. How did you guys come up with Wall as the name of your company? What is the significance there?
So I think we toyed around with a bunch of names, but first thing, like I think NFTs, building in the space of NFTs and Web3, uh, it's like collectibles, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
collectibles, like Wall is something where you show off those collectibles.
Interesting.
So where you put out stuff, and then there is another interesting macro Web3 point here, that walls have typically been things which are built by people to divide things. But when walls are kind of comes in the hands of artists and creators, when a certain message is put out or an artwork is put out on that becomes a way around people gather
Wow.
and kind of have a conversation around it, and sort of so it has a, when that wall is put, art is put on that wall, then it becomes a conversational piece and a place where people kind of vibe together. So we thought, both from that standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. And of course, there was this other angle of like Facebook having its own wall, and there is already a connotation of a social
Mm.
experience involved with it. And it was a short name, and we always love like short names, right? So
Totally, and I love the deep meaning what you guys have thought of. And in the NFT space in India, I can say, I hope this is what wall is there where people come and start talking about, and what you guys are doing with your new launch. I'm sure that is something that's going to happen, and people are going to start talking about wall. Till today, also they do. Whenever you talk in the NFT circle, that's what wall is all about. Uh, all right. So tell me one thing now. Yes, people can join in. Would like to again, know if there's any message that you have for the community. Any ask? What is there? The stage is yours, all yours
yeah.
to have that.
Yeah. So, firstly, we are releasing something very interesting in this week actually. So, firstly, go follow us on Twitter, and you'll know
Mm.
when is that. And for the first 1,000 people that are going to come and search their wallet or search anyone's wallet and share that, there is a raffle that I mentioned already. And to specifically talk about what is it going to be about, it's something we created, some fun thing called Rect Meter, where you can put a wallet and it shows you how wrecked are you. uh, and it shows like how many Big Macs can you afford, and like how many days are you away from your McDonald's job. So and it also shows you like, okay, what are the NFTs that you held for a long period of time and you had to hold because you couldn't sell them, and some things which you thought you should have sold them. So these are the stats that's there. And apart from that, there is actually a bunch of very interesting stats, like how many buys per month have you done, like what's your average buying, like what are some of your best performing ones, and your overall wallet performance. So yeah, so those are some of the fun features which we have as a first release.
Awesome, that's amazing. So we also have Vishwanath Holin who's saying that what you guys are doing great, and it's the present scenario what is needed here. So kudos from there, and Vishnu is sending hearts to the project and what you guys are talking about there. Thank you, Anuj, for taking out time and sharing about the journey, about Wall and about your journey. Guys, do look into Wall, do follow them. Maybe, in this bear market, you are able to figure out your wallet status and not have to go and work in a McDonald's. And you might get a good NFT drop if you win the raffle. So that's something exciting for in the bear markets, what you guys can look forward to. Thank you, Anuj, and all the best for the launch and kudos for everything. Thank
Cheers,
you,
man.
everyone.
Take care. Take care. All
Bye.
right. See you.